Hi, good night, everyone. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I am here live to take your U.S. immigration questions. So if you have a U.S. immigration related question, go ahead and put your questions in the comments right now so that I can answer it. You can also use the Q&A option on your screen to submit your questions. I come on here every night. I close out the night with you all to answer your questions. And so here I am. Why not take advantage of a U.S. immigration attorney being here to answer those nagging immigration questions? So go ahead at any time. Feel free to put your questions in the comments. And keep in mind, there is no such thing as a dumb question. You can ask any question that you would like that is immigration related. So I want to formally introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. I am U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I help clients to get their green cards and status in the United States. So if you have an issue or you have a question, you can start here by asking your question here. You never know, it may be a simple answer to that question. However, keep in mind that it will be general information that I'll be giving you. If you would like personal legal advice, you should go to the link in my bio, which will take you to the website. And at the website, you would be able to get the contact information. The contact number is 561-405-4889. Or you can fill out the contact form. That's going to provide your name, your information to the office, and the scheduling coordinator will send that information back to you. Or you can use the online chat. So every night between Monday to Friday until 11 p.m., 9:30 a.m. to 11 p.m., a scheduling coordinator is also available through the online chat to take your questions and to schedule, primarily to schedule your consultation. So go ahead, get in touch if you have any questions. Hello, I did my biometrics on the 26th of April, have not heard anything. Should I be worried? So at this point, I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what the facts are in your case, but it is not unusual for it to be a couple more months before you hear anything after a biometrics appointment. But what I can say is, just to be safe, call the number, contact them, and see if everything is okay on your end. If I was charged for a minor crime in my country, I'm still eligible to get a green card. It depends. So it depends on what type of crime it is, because sometimes, believe it or not, you may think it's a minor crime. It may be a minor crime in your country, but then it turns out to be have major immigration consequences. So my rule of thumb is, when it comes down to criminal matters, it's really a case-by-case matter. It depends on the facts in your case. It depends on the background of the criminal conduct. It depends on what type of application you're filing for. So what you can do is schedule a consultation, and we can go through your facts. So great questions so far. Keep those questions coming, because I am here to do exactly that, to answer questions like these. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments so that I can hear you. So venue 2. So Nikki, venue 2, I'm not sure what that means. But go ahead and put your questions, continue to put those questions in the comments. So I just released a video about ways that you can fix your immigration status in the United States and who can do that. And so in between the questions, while your questions are coming in, I kind of want to touch on that. I want to touch on how to fix your immigration status. Oh, okay, so Nikki Rose, where the crime took place. So not necessarily, Nikki, it really comes down to what type of crime, not necessarily where it was, but what type of crime was it? Because there is something even called the crime involving moral turpitude, that no matter where that crime took place, if it fits a certain characteristic, if there are certain types of actions that defined the crime and made it crime involving moral turpitude, then that could render you inadmissible. So it's more the facts than anything else. So keep your questions coming, because I am here to answer your immigration questions. Okay, so I'm glad, because I am here to give you new information, keep you informed. So Nikki, I'm glad that I was able to enlighten you a bit. So keep those questions coming. I am here to answer your immigration questions. So please go ahead. By all means, feel comfy. Put those questions in the comments. What I'm going to be talking about while your questions come in is how to fix your immigration status in the United States. I issue a lot of videos about that topic. So I was charged for mine. So 242 Duke of Gold. I answered your question. I think you may have fell off of the live. But when it comes on to criminal issues, it may be considered minor in your country, and it turns out to have major immigration consequences. So my rule of thumb is, whenever there is a criminal conduct involved, it's very important for you to schedule a consultation to make sure that you get proper advice about how to move forward, how it's going to affect your application, whether it will even affect your application. My husband is a permanent resident. He filed last year, and we still haven't gotten a positive response. So, it can take over 1 year to get a decision. I'm thinking your husband probably filed what's called the I-130. And so it can take over 1 year to be able to get a decision on that. What I do suggest you do is, in the meantime, call the USCIS if it's pending at the USCIS or wherever it's pending, and make sure that they have not requested anything from you that you haven't provided, just to make sure that it's not anything on your end. Hi there, it's nice to see you. Thanks for saying hi. So keep your questions coming, because I'm here to answer your questions. And so far, these have all been great questions. Hi, I'm from Trinidad. I want to work and live in the USA. How do I start? So there are so many ways, Richard, and it depends on how you qualify. So it sounds like you saw my video based on the E2 Treaty Investor Visa. And the main way to get that is if you want to expand your business or start a business in the United States. Any advice for someone forced to remain in the U.S. due to border closure and exemption requirements? So it depends on what type of status you came in with. But one thing, don't just sit there and do nothing. Get legal advice. If there's a way to get see if there's a way to get an extension on your status. Because once you get an extension before you run out of status, then it minimizes the risk of severe immigration consequences. So give thanks 26, get legal advice first as to how to fix the situation and make sure that you are compliant. I want to go to the States because I tried, so I'm not sure, you tried Belize. I'm not sure what you mean. So keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So just put those questions in the comments like others have been. Hi there, Kingan. It's nice to see you. My friend who's a green card holder is currently outside of the U.S. and his green card expired. How can he renew it? So Wendy, no, the first concern is how long has he been outside of the United States, because that can basically determine whether he can even continue to have a green card. Usually the danger zone is if they've been outside of the United States for more than 1 year. And so there is more of a problem there, and he's definitely going to want to get legal advice very quickly to determine how how to get that green card back or to secure his green card. Otherwise, usually if a green card expires, it's important to file what's called an I-90 form, but it all depends here. That doesn't necessarily mean he is going to file this. It just depends on what the circumstances are. Wendy, get your friend to contact me and schedule a consultation. Just let them, give them my contact information. Is B2 considered illegal entry? No. So if you have a B2 and you enter the country with the B2 and even if you overstayed, it's not considered illegal entry. If you fall out of status, you become undocumented or you're out of status. But once you can show that you entered with a B2 visa, that's considered legal entry. Hi, my husband lives in the States and I live in Jamaica. He's been a citizen for years and he now has, so Carrie Ann, I don't see the rest of that question. So I'm gonna wait for the rest of your question to come across. It's been over 2 years. Okay, thank you. I'll have him contact you. So definitely, Wendy, in a case where he's been outside of the United States for over a year, there's a presumption that he has abandoned his permanent residence. Now, if he got something called a re-entry permit, that may be different because that allows him, that will give him special permission to stay outside of the United States for the reason that he has stated in his application for the re-entry permit. But if he didn't apply for that, he will likely have to apply to get back into the United States. So it's going to get a little complicated and he should definitely get legal advice before doing anything. Wispy's World, you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. And while your questions come in, I want to touch on how you can fix your immigration status if you're in the United States without, and you don't have status. So Kerry and Beckford, he now has help. If he now has help, so I live in Jamaica, he says, and he now has help. So I'm not sure if that means legal help or if there's a question attached to that. But Carrie Ann, just follow up please to let me know what the question is. Wendy, you're welcome. So if you have a US visa as a teen but never traveled and lost a passport in fire, will it be easy? So it depends. So if you had it as a teen and it has expired, you're gonna have to apply for another one. However, if you're applying for a replacement visa, because the other one was in a fire, that may be a different process. So keep your questions coming. Let's see, for that person to get a new one. Okay, I think I answered that one. So keep your questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So just put your questions in the comments. And another thing I noticed, if you are asking your question, you notice that you're not getting a response from me, try the Q&A feature on your screen. That's that comment box with a question mark in there. And many people have had success with getting their questions across using that. O'Shane Brown, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Hi there, Brian Kelly. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining in. So I'm going to touch on how to fix your status. So he doesn't want to file for me due to certain reasons. I want to know how to apply without his help. So Karen Beckford, that's going to depend on your circumstances. Now, I don't know where you are you, and you're in Jamaica. So it depends on your circumstances. If you've lived together, usually when you're going to apply on your own, there has to be evidence of mistreatment. And so that would be the first step, is to figure out what are the circumstances in your marriage. Was there mistreatment? What were your living arrangements before? Did you live together at some point? Did the abuse occur in the United States? If it didn't occur in the United States, is he a military? Is he in the military or does he work for the government? I would have to know a number of different facts to be able to determine whether you qualify to apply for the green card without his help. But the main thing here is, did your spouse mistreat you? And is that why he's not applying for you to get the green card? Or did he just plain mistreat you? So give me a call and schedule a consultation for us to delve deep into those facts to confirm whether you qualify for this. Hi there, Shane. So keep those questions coming. Now, who qualifies to fix their immigration status if they're in the United States? So can I get an IUL when I get a green card? So can you just elaborate what the IUL is for me, please? Do you help persons to get a work visa? So yes, but you'd have to qualify. I'll have to call you to explain then. So Carrie Ann, definitely that's what the consultations are for. You can call 561-405-4889. A scheduling coordinator is available up until 11 p.m. to put you on my calendar and to schedule a consultation. So keep those questions coming. I know who qualifies to fix their immigration status while they're in the United States, even if they're out of status, and fix their immigration status and go on to get the green card. So index universal life insurance. So when I get a green card, so yes, you should be able to get the universal life insurance if you have a green card. Definitely, you will have a lot more freedom. You basically have access to get all the benefits that a citizen would have when you have a green card. Can I set up an LLC when I get a green card? Absolutely, yes. So green card holders can work, live here, set up businesses, do many things. If there are just a few things that they can't do, such as they can't vote. They can't claim U.S. citizenship, so maybe some jobs may restrict the, only allow citizens to work in certain federal positions. However, in any other case, green card holders can usually do all of those things. So keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your questions, and I'm also going to tell you, while you're here in the United States, if you're out of status, there are ways to fix your status. So to stay in the United States and apply for your green card at the same time, even if you're out of status, but you can show that you came in with a B visa or a visa, and you overstayed that visa, but you had legal entry, and you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. So immediate relative of a U.S. citizen would be the spouse, the parent, the son or daughter, 21 and under 21 of a U.S. citizen. There is a way to apply for the green card without the apply for the green card even if you've overstayed. Now, another thing is so what if you're not the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, or you didn't enter the country with a visa, you came into the country without permission? Then what options are there for you? So while you would not be able to apply through adjustment of status, that's basically applying for the green card while you're in the United States. It doesn't disqualify you from applying for the green card, but you'll have to fix your status, because what you'll have to do is you have to leave the country in order to finish your green card process. But there is a waiver process. It's basically asking for forgiveness, applying for forgiveness for staying in the United States or overstaying or crossing the border without permission. And that waiver would allow you, give you permission, give you the ability to leave the country in time to get to your interview at the embassy in your country. When you get there, the officer, once you have that approved waiver, the officer will not hold the unlawful presence or the overstay or crossing the border illegally against you. And so you would likely be issued the immigrant visa to come back to the United States within about 2 to 3 weeks later and become a permanent resident. Now, to get this waiver, you'll have to show that you'll have to have, first of all, you'll have to have a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse or parent, and you'll have to show that U.S. citizen spouse or green card holder spouse or parent will experience extreme hardships without you if you don't get the green card. And so one thing I like to stress is that this is not a fill in the blank spaces of a form kind of document. You have to present good evidence of extreme hardships. Also, extreme hardships is not just going to be all the different ways that your relative is going to miss you. It's going to have to, usually to qualify for this, you have to show that your spouse or your parent are highly dependent on you, and they are going to face major complications in their own life if you don't get the green card. So how can I apply for a work visa? I think this is Chinny. It depends on your qualifications. The first thing is, do you have an employer who is willing to apply for you, and what are the qualifications, what are the needs of the employer, and can those meet the requirements of the visa? You're welcome, 242 Duke of Gold. I am looking forward to speaking with you. And do you get an SSN with a green card? Absolutely. Yes, you do. So keep those questions coming. I'm here to answer your questions. And so why not take advantage of a U.S. immigration attorney being here to answer your questions right now? I'm here every day. So if you are just listening and learning, but you'll have a question in the future, just make sure you're following me. And as soon as I go live, you can jump onto the live with me and put your questions in the comments. At 242 Duke of Gold, I'm glad. That's exactly this comment here. Love your content. Inspires me to make more. I do try to make it entertaining, but at the same time informative and simplistic too. Because some of this is very complex information, but I think it's important for you to know this information and know that these options are there. So I'm glad that you like the content. So Lugoy, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. So I have been talking about how to fix your immigration status while you're in the United States. I talked about being the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. That's one way. That's a spouse, the parent of a U.S. citizen who is 21 and up, or the child of a U.S. citizen who is under 21 and unmarried. So Chinny, what about if you're not working now and want to apply for your person's visa? What requirements? So if you're talking about the visitor's visa, the most important thing is to show that you have strong ties to your home country. Now, not working may present a problem there because they want to see that you're tied to your country so much that you will return after a temporary visit. So showing property, showing a job, a long-standing job, showing that you have a business, showing that you have strong family ties, showing that you have debt, mortgage. These can be helpful. How do you find job in the USA if you live in Trinidad to get work visa? So I don't help with job placements, but sometimes there are employers who do recruit foreign workers. And so it really depends on what your field is, what do you qualify for, and if there are any recruiters in your particular field. What about if you're not working? So I answered that. 242 Duke of Gold, thanks for sharing the live. So at Chinny, I believe I answered your question. So I am going to continue to talk about how to fix your immigration status while your questions come in, but feel free to keep putting those questions in the comments. Hi there, Latoya Plass, it's nice to see you. How long does it take if my dad, who is a citizen, files for me? I live in the Caribbean. So Dangles, it depends on your age. If you're over 21, then you could be looking at about 6 to 7 years. If you're under 21 and unmarried, you're looking at about 18 months. Is there a specific time in which to call you? So the best times would be between 9:30 a.m. and 11 p.m. There is a scheduling coordinator who is available right now to take your calls. Sometimes if the scheduling coordinator is already on the line with someone, you'll get an after hours receptionist who will take your information, and then the scheduling coordinator will get back to you that same night, as long as it's before 9:30 or the next business day. What happened if someone overstayed their visa? How can they get a green card without marriage? So you would be able to get your green card through perhaps other families, another family, or there are certain cases where you may be able to get it through an employer, but you would still have to get it. You would still have to have family ties to be able to fix your status. So there are now, while it's more limited when you have no family ties, there are possible ways. For example, if you came into the country, you received a U visa, victim of crime, or a T visa, victim of trafficking, and you got those visas, you could adjust status that way as well. If you came in as an asylum seeker, that could be another way. Does he have to prove that supported me whilst I was young? Yes, so he will have to show that he, not necessarily that he supported you while you were young, but he does have to show how he will support you when you do come to the United States through what's called the affidavit of support. What part of the States is your office located? So the office is located in Boca Raton, Florida. I also have meeting locations in Fort Lauderdale. However, keep in mind that I'm not limited by borders or state lines. I represent clients all over the country. As immigration attorneys, we work with the USCIS offices and embassies all over the world. So if you are not close to me, we can do schedule consultations by phone as well as video. How long does it take to apply for a fiancé visa, and what paperwork do you receive? So it's taking a little over a year, and when it comes on to the paperwork, I don't necessarily get through list every single piece of paperwork. I don't want you to give you the wrong information, because I don't know what your facts are, and I'm giving you general information. However, what the most important part of this is to show that you met your fiance within the most recent 2 years, and that this is a real relationship that's going to lead to a marriage. Your true intention is to get married. How long does it take to marry someone to bring them to the US? So it takes about 18 months if it's a US citizen. Expect about a 2-year process if you are a permanent resident applying for your spouse. So 242 Duke of Gold. I'm great. I'm happy that you love this. Shirley Hunter 24. Thanks for following. Now, great questions. Keep those questions coming while I'm here. I want to let you know that if you want to learn more about me, the practice areas, the law firm, go to the link in my bio. You'll also see the contact information there. Right now, there's an online chat up until 11 p.m. You can speak with a scheduling coordinator who can schedule you for an appointment. So there are just multiple ways to get in touch with me to schedule a consultation. You can call 561-405-4889 to go ahead and schedule your consultation. There's someone who's available up until 11 p.m. To schedule your consultation. No, I'm not a British immigration attorney. I am only a U.S. immigration attorney. How long does it take to marry someone to bring them over to the U.S.? So I believe I answered that, babe, 1900, and it's taking about 18 months if you're a U.S. citizen, and about 2 years if you are a permanent resident. So, hi, I would like to apply for visiting visa. How long would it take? Because my family are U.S. citizens. So, now now, when you're doing a visitor's visa, it really depends on the embassy and how many interviews they have scheduled for the to do visitor visas. Now, I know some embassies are not processing those right now. You have to check with your particular embassy to see what's going on there. But usually, once you get in with an interview, once you go to the interview, you will walk out, and a few days later, you'll have that visa in your passport. But the hardest part and the longest part is usually to get the visa interview. So Dangles, would I be able to stay in the Caribbean after my dad files until immigrant visa is approved? So Dangles, it depends. So if you're under 21 and unmarried, then you would be able to stay in the United States. There's no visa for you to come here. Maybe that could change in the future, who knows? But if you come here and you decide, I'm going to stay and wait out the process here, then that could be if your father's a U.S. citizen and you're under 21 and unmarried. If you're over 21, then it would not necessarily be a good idea, just because it gets more complicated. You'll fall out of status, and then once you fall out of status, you're looking at the need for a waiver. And that waiver is primarily dependent on how the extreme hardships of your dad. So to prove that, your dad would have to be dependent on you in some way, to show that if you don't get the green card, your dad will experience extreme hardships, and then you'll have to leave the country anyway to get your green card. So if you're over 21, you definitely want to be cautious, get legal advice first. If you are under 21, still get legal advice to make sure you're doing everything correctly. However, there is a way to adjust status in the United States. Since my papers are pending, can I make the decision to go to America and stay, or do I have to wait? So Mrs. Cameron, it goes back to exactly what I was saying with Dangles. It depends. Now, it depends on your age. It depends on whether you're an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. You can find yourself in more trouble if you decide to come and stay, because in many cases, most cases, you have to leave the country to finish the green card process. And if you overstay by over 180 days, then that's going to be a problem. You leave the country without getting forgiveness for overstaying. And what will happen is you will face a bar and not be approved. So very important to get legal advice first before you make any moves like that, to make sure that you are going about the situation correctly. So Nicholas 31, you are welcome. So Angelindra, hi there, it's nice to see you. I have a friend on a business visa. Can they get a green card from that visa? So it depends on what type of visa. So there are usually no. So jumping from a business visa to straight to a green card, not usually the case. However, in some cases, there are some visas that are dual intent visas, meaning that if you do qualify, that option is always open later on in the future to go from that having that visa to applying for the green card while you're in the United States. So basically, you're allowed to have a future intent of having a green card in the future. Hi there, welcome then. Welcome, Efani. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining in. So go ahead and keep those questions coming while I'm here, because I am here to answer your immigration questions. I always like to close out the night with you to answer your questions. So go ahead and put those questions in while I am here. Now, if you are finding that your questions are not coming across, You can always put your questions in the Q&A box as well. I find that many people are successful with getting those questions across in the Q&A box. My daughter was born in the US. Would I be able to apply for a green card? So great question. I'm glad you asked that. And usually if your daughter is under 21, you will not be able to get the green card. Your daughter has to be 21 and up to be able to apply for your green card. And so having a US, unfortunately, right now, having a US citizen child does not automatically qualify you to apply for the green card. However, when they turn 21, that could be an option. So the dual intent, if I'm from the Caribbean, what's the best way to get a green card? I have a visitor's visa. So the visitor's visa is not dual intent. With that visa, you must have temporary intent, an intent to stay temporarily in the United States. And so there's no way to jump from a visitor's visa to the green card. Now, in order to qualify for the green card, there are just set ways that you can qualify for the green card. And it's either going to be through an employer, through a family member, by humanitarian means. So if you are filing for asylum, you received asylum, then you can apply for the green card, or through the last resort, which is the diversity visa. That's like the lottery for the green card. So there's a site on the Department of State, at the Department of State, where you can, once a year it opens up and you can register, put your name. If you are selected, you have a chance at being processed for the green card. I have a friend with a green card, but he got caught shoplifting, but he was a first-time offender. So when it comes on to criminal issues, definitely get legal advice to make sure it's not going to have negative consequences on your qualifications. Now, when it comes on to these kinds of offenses, I always say, he did a diversion program and charges was dropped. Can he get citizenship? I would say, DJ Future, it's possible. However, it can also go the other way. This is very a more complex aspect, because even though it was a diversion program, in some cases under immigration law, it could still be considered a guilty. So for example, through the diversion program, if he was required to plead guilty before the charges were dropped, that under immigration law, that could still be considered a guilty. However, if he was not required to plead guilty before going through the diversion program, then that could be considered not guilty and not a conviction. But it all depends. And so can't stress enough, when there are criminal issues involved, very, very, very important to get legal advice, especially with citizenship, to make sure it doesn't disqualify you, and to put a good case forward to the immigration officers, because they are going to be the ones who are going to be evaluating your good moral character or your friend's good moral character. So very important to lay it out so that the officers have a clear picture of what happened and who you are, and that you don't lack good moral character. How long for a sibling to apply for green card for another? It's taking a minimum of 14 years. For example, in the Caribbean, it's taking up to 22 years in Mexico. So it depends on where you are, but a minimum of 14 years. So it's not a quick solution. Definitely not a quick solution if you're already in the United States. I'm a PR and I applied for a husband August 2019. What's the wait time? So it's about 2 years. However, please keep an eye, get in touch with the USCIS. If they have your case, make sure that you're on track, that they're not waiting for you to submit anything. He did a diversion program and charges was dropped. I answered that. A person that overstayed their visa for 6 years and bars from the US, can they return So a person that overstayed their visa for 6 years and bars from the US, can they return? Now it depends on how you want to return after the bar. So if you overstay by 6 years, you have a 10-year bar. And in that case, you may face an uphill battle especially if you're trying to get another visitor's visa because you already have an immigration violation on your record. So it all depends. If you are trying to come back on a green card and you don't have any other basis for inadmissibility, that renders you inadmissible even after the time period has passed, then maybe. But in cases like this, always very important for you to get legal advice. So can you change your green card address when you arrive at the US? Yes, there's what's called an AR-11 form on the USCIS that allows you to do just that. It's quick and easy. If you go to the uscis.gov, you will see that form. My daughter is a US citizen by birth, however, she's not living there in the US. So user 6211. So US citizens don't usually have a limit on where they can live or whether they can live outside of the United States. But keep in mind, having a US citizen daughter is not going to automatically qualify. Would she still have the benefit of citizen? Absolutely. Absolutely. She was born in the United States. She is a US citizen. So thank you everyone for your questions. It's my time to check out for the night. But as usual, I will be back tomorrow. So if you have more questions, the first thing is follow me, and then you'll see when I go live, so you can hop on and ask your questions. If you didn't ask your question, or of course you want to get legal advice, personal legal advice, because everything I told you here is general information, you're welcome. ACE3 Adventures. Go to the link in my bio where you can access the website, learn about me, and also contact the firm. The scheduling coordinator is ready to take your calls, and that is up to 11 p.m. tonight and tomorrow, Monday to Friday. So take your chance, schedule a consultation so you can get on my schedule, and then I can further advise you and possibly represent you through your immigration journey. So have a good night, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.